Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well. May we be protected and guided by spirit in the reading. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with historical events, including and involving ancient portals. And because we are going down them and up and down them portals, we may encounter, in this episode, we are going to encounter some creature features. If you're watching the visual, I've got one of the old cartoon likeness of Frankenstein back in the day. In this case, instead of having the bolt through his head or his temples, it's kind of through his jawbone. All right. I don't know why I said that. That sounds so weird. All right. So I've been feasting on a bit of Frankenstein, not in a weird way. I've always enjoyed, you get particular franchises, Frankenstein, the vampire movies, even the zombies, right? Zombies. So just now looking at the character of Frankenstein, we can maybe surmise in this current version, Frankenstein directed by Del Toro, zombie. If you haven't watched the movie, I would recommend it. I will just say, there were moments where I felt the ritualistic nature, perhaps hidden, we'll have to investigate, perhaps hidden, but certainly kept on, certainly enough times through the screen. Just that hint of not everything is exactly what you see in front of you. And not to do a spoiler alert, but I'll quickly say it within the next 10 seconds. There's quite a long sequence of decapitations, dismemberments, but there's a particular focus on it, I felt, visually. And it reminded me, if you've been watching real time, and we are now currently November 13, September this year, according to the calendar, included a lot of dismemberment issues. We find that young lady in the back of a Tesla, belonging to, or at least registered to, the artist David. So that gave me the heebie-jeebies in the film. Other than that, on surface level and candy floss and popcorn while you're watching, obviously well produced, well directed, beautiful movie. But you just got to keep your eyes open. So I thought, let's have a look at the origin. Mary Shelley. Well, of course, if you know your history, Mary Shelley came after beg your pardon, insisting that I do the original name. I must say, whether actually Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin. I've done my protection stuff before I started recording. I've been dipping in and out on the slides for a few days, and I figured there's enough pre-prod done to now let go. And if you're new to the series, and I beg your pardon for the long get there, but I'm also getting in tune. I've been trying to get in tune before. I feel like I'm this dog, or if you see a dog and the dog someone's calling it, come here, come here, come here. And the dog knows this fucker is not good, right? So that's how I'm feeling. I will say, and it's just happened now again, there's serious shit going on behind this portrait. Ancient vibes, dark vibes. Put your shields up. If you're a little bit squeamish around the heebie-jeebie, well, now's your time. I think one of the main discoveries out of all the numbers that are around this situation, Mary Shelley, born Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, born 1797, 24/6. If you've been watching the Blue Rabbit series, that is where I discovered the hidden family. Let's call it family first, because the direct translation of 24/6 is family. Now, if we stay in the optics of portals and ancient creatures and creatures, we can start including the original bloodline, 24/6. And that was a discovery I made in the Blue series, caused by the California fire hills. So I find interesting 24/6 in play. I'm like a little dog sniffing up what I'm looking at here, because shit can bite at any time. And I believe this to be true. I'm not one for over-dramatizing or creating another narrative. My job is not to create another narrative. What we know of all of this is written in history. And yes, validated by Ping Pong and Ding Dong and Dingling and whoever through the backstories of families. Yes, it all exists. But let's see what's going on here. So from midnight, this is when Mary is about to be born. From midnight that day, beg your pardon, midnight, maybe it is day for them at midnight. You know what I mean. Wink, wink, coffin, coffin huggers. All right, 30 outcome 3, midnight to sunrise. Mama Bear is in distress here. Now, Mary is only born later, almost before, just before midnight, half an hour before midnight. I've got the time here somewhere. Mary was born 20 minutes after 11 p.m. And according to their patchwork and history filings, apparently you can see your name in what would be a picture of the registrar, going all the way back to 1797. So 30 outcome 3 in the general, pregnant mom is having an outburst. Not an outburst. We can imagine perhaps she was in quite discomfort. Baby coming soon. Within 12 hours to 24 hours, she would give birth, as we know it. In the day 3811-2, which gives us a 211-2, 3811-2. For whatever reason, even in my bit of pre-prep, that number doesn't sit properly for me for whatever reason. Now, this is when Mary's born, right? 62-8, 35-8, 26:8, 78. So quite the birth, quite the birthing. 62:8, that 30 outcome 3 now comes into play. Maybe the baby was larger than expected or anticipated. 62:8 is breaking. 62:8 can be breaking water. And that begins at nightfall. 35:8 may have brought up some complications. 5 can bring around complications. 5. Now, I don't know if, I'm not a historian. I've done some basic research on Mary, the background of the story, over the past couple of days. The one narrative that I watched, 26:8, can bring around like a virus or a disease. And apparently, I believe, was it the doctor that gave birth, or whoever the male was, didn't wear surgical gloves, and therefore there was contamination or there was infection for her mom. So we can say there 268, the 6 is that virus or infection. 6. 8 is all about biology, by the way. 8. Interesting thing about 8, and I think this plays a role, obviously, in her book. She wrote many things. But in the case of Frankenstein, you're dealing with 8, biology of the body. The body. It can be bone, muscle mass, nervous system, but the biology of, okay. So it looks like potentially the mother was hemorrhaging early on in that day. So where she's having that outburst, 30 outcome 3, we see a 33:6. 33:6, then followed by 14:5. Now 14:5 brings around issues, brings around difficulties. 4 is the baby and how things are working and being pregnant. 41:5. Okay, there's another strange number. So technically 41:5, it's almost like you see this 38. Let's go back one step. When you look at numbers around people that have twins, we find the presence of 11 twos, right? So now we're seeing during the day before her birth, there's difficulties. Now there's clearly difficulties going, without a shadow of a doubt. One can say, yes, maybe, it's not exactly 2025, we 1797. But there may have been a twin involved here, but deceased, stillborn. It's a possibility. So that's the intention, action. So intention 41:5. But I think that I'm just having some visuals to my left, 11 o'clock position. The mother was certainly in distress during this birth. This ugly thing behind this poster here is really giving me the heebie-jeebies, really getting way out of hand here. Ugly motherfucker. All right, so in the action, we got a hidden 44:8. See, that can also, oh God. This is, okay, so I was a bigger part and I'm going tangents again. Okay, focus. Now, this 44:8 confirms what I was going to say about this 41:5, and believe me, I'm just going to say it. You can call me whatever. If we had to now just tweak the optics to full creature feature, because that's what I keep picking up here, and that is like, are they trying to join something? It's like particularly 44.8 would suggest. So 4 is anatomy. 4, the other 4 is anatomy. 2 anatomies coming together. For example, we saw the Pope that created the change in the Julian to Gregorian calendars. That Pope, if I remember correctly, has an 8 plus 8 conflict. Which in that case we can say there's a mixing of biologies. Whereas here it's saying there's a mixing of anatomies. And this is all by let's say natural means, not like Dracula goes and bites person A in the neck. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. And then that person turns into a vampire, right? No. We're talking amalgamation. Must become like. I wonder where and how she got the idea for Frankenstein. When the monster's inside you. All right, I made an intention before I started recording. Let's start with general, so that we at least afford ourselves a balanced reading. Because if I switch into the heebie-jeebie optics, we may come up with some interesting stories here. So interestingly, in the intention, now even in the general, we got a 666, double 6 on the top, 6 on the bottom, too many 6s in the first 2 rows. So 6 is a blood number. So she's definitely, that 33.6, there's definitely a hemorrhaging issue. So 3s would bring around the intestines, or could be a chemical, I don't know, colon, I don't know. Was the baby stuck? So see, there was it. So unfortunately, Mary's mother passes sometime later in recent days, like within 2 weeks, I believe, right? Because they believe there was some kind of virus or infection that took over. 14.5, if you look at it, 14.5 in the day. So in the evening we go. So all these 11.2s, it's a 50-50 situation. I believe the mother was always in trouble here. Unfortunately, the mother was always in trouble here. Difficult birth. You see, in the +1 of her date of birth in the intention, we have a 42.6. So there was definitely some kind of loss during this birth. I think this was a very difficult birth. And also, yeah, you see in the action, So in the action, all the outcome, so in the position where she is born, it's just a stack of 5s, 68, 14, 5, 41, 5, 32, 5, 23, 5, 14, 5, 5. So tough times, 1797, you're bringing through a new child. We don't exactly have a phone to call the ambulance because there's hemorrhaging. Just get more blankets, boil some more fire so we can boil up some water, get some cloths in there. Life is tough. And very physical during the day. If that 44.8 and the 17.8 brings around, the mom would know, and I don't say it lightly, that she was about to give birth. I believe she was going through a very tough last 24 hours, 12 hours. She always revealed, for some reason, some of these numbers aren't making sense to me. So, all is revealed, and it's available in the actual day. We just include now the 71.8. Then followed by 62.8. So I'm going to just say, because there's a 38.11.2 up front and there's a 47.11.2, then there's a 39.12.3. And what I'm seeing in these numbers, there's a lot of, lack of a better word, it's like a war zone. Very biologically violent. And, when I keep seeing now, she just did it again, or whoever the creature is behind her, vampire shit, deep, dark, bubble red motherfuckers, 24/6 original vampire families. All right, perhaps we'll look at her death after we look at the celebration of her book, Frankenstein. Keep some kind of chronological order. I don't mean to get too deep. If I sense in vibes, I'll take a break, or I did all my blocking and protection before. It just helps sometimes not to always do crime. Because if you're watching accidents every day, then, it's not exactly healthy. So I thought, let's tiptoe around history and poke our nose where it don't belong. Interestingly, and I believe I may have just picked this up now, okay, let me explain what's happening with this chart here if you're watching the visuals. So I've got January 1, as far as I could see, as the published date of the first edition. There's some interesting information. Maybe I'll share it when it's time relevant. And then I've got the +1 after and the -1. Now, because it's January 1, January 2, and then there's even to the left, January 0. I just did it as a reference. I'm just checking things. I've now also included the energy flow sequence. So, for example, the day before the book would have been published, December 31, 1817. So we say the book was published on New Year's Day, right? So the day before, December 31, 1817, then gives us December 32, 1817, December 33, 1817, that we get the read. Now in the +1, that sequence of numbers begins with 33.6. This is hidden. 33.6. Then we go into a 45.9, 36.9, 89 portal sequence, stack of eights. Stack of eights. Here's all your biology numbers here. So the reflection of the story, we can say, is within the 72-hour scan. And like with Mary Shelley, as we know today, we find all of those eights on her birthday. The intention, when August 30, 1797, when Mary Shelley is born, the intention starts with a 33-6. Within the 72-hour scan of the book publishing hidden, 33-6, 89 portal sequence. We'll note, if you're watching the visuals, 2 days, we just check in what's what, 2 days before she's born, which would be August 28, 1797, we find a 36-9, 89 portal sequence, stack of sixes. We find, still on that 2 days before, 60 outcome 6, 33-6. You know that 60 outcome 6 when I said it? Bloodbath. Bloodbath. So interesting, actually. I've just seen this now. The day the book is published, we have now this is in the hidden energy flow numbers, hidden in the day position, 17-8 plus 17-8 of the year that the book is published in, 17-8. So we've got 3 17-8s in the first 2 rows here. There was something also off about the publishing of this book. I'm just trying to think what it is. Don't think, numbnuts. Just do it. Those American Army movies, right? 17-8. So if now I'm tweaking into, not tweaking, I'm just tweaking the lens. 17-8 reptilia. Biology. And then we got all the 16-7s vampiri numbers. So vampiri 16-7, the night before. Same with the Prince Andrew daughters, Beatrice and let's just say Beatrice and her sister. 16-7's the night before. In the day, daywalkers. So a hidden 43-7. All right. So we've got a hidden 44-8 on the day of publication. So there's a hidden message. No shit, Sherlock. There's a hidden message in the book. This is the publishing date. So there's the story and the rah-rah as we know it, as the story tells us. But there's a hidden message in the book. I wonder what it would have been like living in those days, 1817. Life was la-di-da in Geneva, 19, 20, 21-year-old. Interestingly, at the time when she came up with the story, there was a group of people, not the group that did the story, but they all had a task, apparently, allegedly. I probably just skimmed the surface of Frankenstein. But there was a group of people, like-minded people, and they were pushed to come up with creative stories, horror stories. And of course, at the time, Frankenstein, there's another name for it, Prometheus, yeah. Oh, there, the modern Prometheus, there we go. So they were all pushed to write a story, and she just couldn't crack a good idea, until she had a good idea. So if we take it then on that aspect, in the +1, the day after, so we can also say, yes, these numbers are going to tell us in general what is happening in the day, what is going to happen with the book. I mean, we know what's generally happened, but it also gives us like tone and texture of what was going on around this, right? 33.6 in the +1 is arguably the creative number. Yes, 89 is very creative. Yes, 89 is almost supersonic. But 33.6, very creative number. And she has a 33.6 in her intention as well. 565 and 2. So, interestingly, Mary, in her +6, has a 17.8. Okay. And then she's got another stack of 5s. So this woman has definitely got she's got a lot of 5s around her in her +3 and in her +6 hidden. What she's really like when the la-di-da is done outdoors. Although with all those 5s, she'll probably do that in public as well. Not to say everyone. But it can also lead to a lot of mediumship, deals with the metaphysical world, mediumship. I wonder what was going through her mind, or what type of person would she be inside? There's certainly, I mean, she was born into, as far as I understand it, into a well-to-do, because the day before we got a 29-11-2, 37-10-1. Let's see, there's some really, I wouldn't say that's completely odd. Other than the fact that it take a whole army to sort this one out. This is the second time I've had a glimpse. Let's share. If you recall the franchise Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, the original first three films, at some point, we revealed there was this ancient war, right? Where one could argue, if I remember the narrative correctly, was the origins of the discovery of the ring as we know it, right? But there were ancient battles that were taking place. And I've just had I had 2 glimpses around this time. So if we had to now really turn the lens hardcore, dark mode, imagine for a moment, because on this day we've got all these 8s. These are big war numbers, 38. So if we had to say there was a war going on, this would have been a ferocious war, because you've got the original family, 24/6, original blood vampires, stay in your cage. August 28th. So let me just add a footnote here. We must accept now, or not accept, you decide. But what I'm getting to is, when we are born into this world, that would sound very strange if I was a clone, right? Now, but as far as I know, I'm a meat sack. Now, imagine for a moment that the history that we are given is a particular narrative. It's the shop window of time, and that's the history we learn over time. We can argue, yes, some of that history changes over time as well, to include, let's say, minorities or previously disadvantaged populations, to include all cultures. And in order for the ruling to be the ruling, and who rules where, this was like, I'm feeling the energy, like this was, I mean, do I say like World War? And it's over dominion. So what I'm getting to is, I'm picking up on something around this time. It's like, imagine, I'm just as an example, right? I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but I'm just saying. Imagine for a moment the birth of who we know today as Mary Shelley would change humanity forever. As an example, in some way, in her case, in some shape, way, or form. But imagine at this time defending the domain. You're defending heritage with all these eights. It shows the next day there's 31-4. There's death in the air here. All these nines in the +1 of her birth. 63-9, 36-9, 27-9, 18-9 are all the nines that are part of the 17-8, 8 stacker 8's portal sequence in the publishing of her book. So one can say the essence of Mary is present in the publishing of the book. The day before the publishing, December 31, 1817, everyone's having a lovely new year. And there's a 60 outcome 660, outcome 6, which is a similar number 2 days before her birth as well. 16-7 in the middle of the day. This is blood feast, yeah. 60 outcome 6, New Year's Eve. 60 outcome 6, 51-6. 51-6 refers to what Victor Frankenstein does to the body parts. (33)6, sacrificial number. All the sixes the day before. So this would have been New Year's, December 31, 1817. So I don't want to be, that's, okay. I had an issue with 61.7. 61.7 the day before her birth. And on the day, hidden energy flow number 61.7. Now this 61.7 is preceded by 5 8s. This 61.7, when I saw it here in the publishing of her book, for a lack of a better word, she is writing about the Antichrist. In Del Toro's screen version, there's a shot where they portray Frankenstein as the resurrected, or, I beg your pardon, as the crucified Jesus Christ as we know it. Here in the numbers, so we know the heebie-jeebies with the 6 and the 7, making humans into God-like things, right? So the problem here with this 7, in a way, is the formation of the 7. 6 human, but it's going down to a 1. So what has been reduced? So it's getting reduced to a 7 versus 3 and a 4 going up to a 4, 3 to a 4, 34, 7. 61.7 is like exactly what this movie is about. And 7, by the way, is also lightning. 61.7 is electrifying that human into a 7. So by those numbers, what they're also actually saying, as the creature as we know it in Del Toro's version, or any other version, that the Frankenstein creature, the creature itself, is godlike. But it's almost like anti-godlike. See, it's even got a 43.7 made to look like God. The human being God. It's interesting, the consciousness around this 1817. For example, because Frankenstein is regarded as also one of the first sci-fi stories. So ironically, if you want to just take it as tongue-in-cheek, on the surface level of January 1, 1818, is when the book comes out. We have a natural conflict, 1 plus 1. So 1 plus 1, we're adding something to something, which will give us like infused whatever, 2, 18.9. Of this divine godlike creature, gives us a 20 outcome 2. Dare we say clone? Could it, 1818, they didn't see clone, but 20, the birth. 1122. So, okay. Maybe I'll just see what this 20 outcome 2 is here. That's kind of I don't know what it is. There's a lot of 20 outcome 2s around these days. Hey, Kate. Hey, Donald. All right. Did you know, here's a fact. Shelley sold the Frankenstein copyright. Unfortunately, she sold the Frankenstein copyright for £30. Now, one could argue £30 to a publisher. She sold it to a publisher. I believe, I stand to be corrected, but the first edition of Frankenstein was printed by the London Publishing House of Lackington and Company, which agreed to give Shelley 1/3 of the profits from a 500 copy run. So her take was 1/3, right? Typical publishers. And out of the 500 books copies, she made £41. Now, in those days, that was some serious money, obviously, but because I was just interested to know, because the Del Toro version, they would have had to get permission. And the thing is, it is based on her version of the book. It's not a rewrite per se, or a reimagining per se. And it's worth mentioning, in the +9 of the release date of the book, we find a 70 outcome 7. 70 outcome 7. Superhuman godlike being. So even back then, 44.8 speaks about these kind of operations, stitching things together to see if it twitches. All right, as we start to unwind, I was interested what in the numbers would suggest its success, longevity. Of course, there's a 33.6 in play. I tell you, when a 33.6 in the positive is like creation itself. And 33.6 pound number, there's the answer actually. 33.6 in the positive is a trend setter. And she's got a 33.6 in her hidden intention. So she's got the spark. All right, so let's see. Ooh, 69. So the day before publication, December 31, New Year's Eve. 69.15, 1/5, outcome 6. Those are those very kind of debauch parties. A little bit bigger and more intensive than a 50 outcome 5. The 15.6 deals with normally older men, younger boys, older men, younger girls, older women, younger women, debauch. It's a sex hive, if you want to look at it that way. And of course, when you have all of these sixes around and 16-7, the vampiri number is 16-7 as well. All right, so we got the 33-6 trendsetter, all the 8s in its favor for communication. The 6. So if it gets to like 60, outcome 6, 61-7, 62-8, and of course in the hidden it gets larger. 6 is about humanity, so it's going to reach humanity. If we look at it in the real, released 18-18 gives us the 18-9. 8 is communication, about this perfection, commonly referred to in this case Frankenstein. Last question, I just wonder how she felt about herself and what was going on in her brain, because people with 8s, and here's a life path 8, they're very preoccupied with the biology of the body. And that is their purpose of being here, to experience the biology of body, the biology of being human and all its encompassing things. I just wonder if she felt she had a monster inside her. So in her dates of birth, and we'll start wrapping up. It feels like I can talk forever today. I'm currently in a 33-6 zone, being late November 13 and outcome 33-6. I did intentionally wait for the sun to set to start recording. I said there'd be a show out on Thursday if you're watching real time. But the energies, and we now starting to tuck into Mercury retrograde. 68, 14, 5. I hope those that are northern hemisphere, you're going to start feeling the pinch in terms of cold. Early cold bells I see in the US at the moment, earlier than usual. I hope you're keeping warm. And don't take shit from them heebie-jeebies. All right, so she has got very good numbers. Oh, hidden, she has a 50 outcome 5, 50 outcome 5. So we got the demon horde. The same numbers we see at the Vatican. The same numbers we see at London side. The same numbers we see at the UN buildings in New York. We have the presence of 50 outcome 5, and in particular including the Netherlands. Let me not forget the Netherlands. Because remember, the Netherlands are also part 24-6 as well. That we find the original pure bloods here. Demons, demon hordes. And there is a very terrible thing behind it. Now, I'm not here to rewrite history. I almost got accused of false advertising with my thumbnail, including the current Frankenstein, although we did speak about it. But quickly, in a numbers point of view, the release on Frankenstein, so there was a release theatrically, 17 October, on the left here. Perfect portal sequence, 18-9, stack of 9s. Starts with a 17-8. Be gone, demon. All right. And then we got all these 17-8s here in the release of the book date. I just want to see if we pick up any similarities. So the day it's released in cinemas, we have a 27, 9, 18, 9, stack of 9 portal sequences, right? The plus 1 day of the book release, we've got that 18-9 portal sequence stack of 8s. Portal sequence. The release of the book is in a portal, the movie, beg your pardon, Frankenstein in theaters, portal sequence. The release date on Netflix platform, November 7, portal sequence, 18-9 stack of 9s. In the action, we find the 33-6. Hidden 24-6. There's the hidden 24-6. In the intention, 30 outcome 3. So 16-7, eh? There's a vampiri number. All is revealed on the November 7 release. Starts with the 16-7 vampiri, 18-9 stack and 9 portal sequences. So we find the creature I've picked up that the creature could also represent 21-3, and we have a hidden 21-3 in the intention. 21-3 is that awkwardness. What's wrong, creature? Oh, I feel awkward today. Oh, really? Wonder why. Interesting that the release date of the movie, the contemporary one, and look, there's a lot of versions of movies that we can dive into. But we find ourselves with portal sequences. All the 6s are represented here. The family bloodlines are represented, acknowledged. One day, the big picture will be revealed. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ancient Portals, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Please leave your comments, your thoughts. Thank you for participating and being a part of the community. May we continue to uncover the demon hordes hiding in plain sight. Bye for now.